The reason for this is I was the one who had the blessing of preaching the Easter message this year. And if I was to continue on, we would cover things that I had already covered, and I did not want to cover things that the pastor who was giving the Easter message would cover. So, we start with verse 21, and I think it would be good that we go ahead and read this chapter together. Read with me, please. After these things, Jesus manifested himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. And he manifested himself in this way. There were together Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and two others of his disciples. Simon Peter said to them, "I'm going fishing." And they said to him, "We will come also with you." They went out and got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. But when the day was now breaking, Jesus stood on the beach, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus therefore said to them, "Children, do you not have any fish?" And they said to him, "No." And he said to them, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find a catch." And they cast therefore, and then they were not able to haul it because of the great number of fish. The disciple therefore whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It is the Lord." And so when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put his outer garment on, for he was stripped for work, and he threw himself into the sea. But the other disciples came in the little boat, for they were not far from the land, but about 100 yards away, dragging the net full of fish. And so when they got out upon the land, they saw a charcoal fire already laid, and fish placed upon it, and bread. And Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish which you have now caught." Simon Peter went up and threw the net to the land, full of large fish, 153. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples ventured to question him, "Who are you?" knowing that it was the Lord. Jesus came and took the bread and gave them, and the fish likewise. This is now the third time that Jesus was manifested to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. So when they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" And Simon said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my lambs." And he said to him a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And he said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Shepherd my sheep." And he said to him the third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, "Did you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Tend my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will gird you and bring you where you do not wish to go." Now this he said, signifying what kind of death he, Peter, would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, "Follow me." And Peter turned around and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them, the one who also had leaned back on his breast at the supper, and said, "Lord, who is the one who betrays you?" And Peter therefore, seeing him, said to Jesus, "Lord, and what about this man?" And Jesus said to him, "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me." This saying therefore went out among the brethren, that the disciple would not die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he would not die, but only, "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you?" This is the disciple who bears witness of these things and wrote these things, and we know that his witness is true. And there are also many other things which Jesus did, which, if they were written in detail, I suppose that even the world itself would not contain the books which were written. Father, we entrust this time to you. Our hearing, our thoughts, our ability to receive this. And I pray for obedience this morning to your word. In Jesus' name, amen. I believe this to be probably my favorite chapter in John because it ties everything together. Not that it is more important than the first chapter. It's not more important than anything to do with his birth. It's not more important than his miracles. It's not more important than the details of his crucifixion, his suffering, his humiliation. But it brings it down to something that we can well understand. And Peter is me. And Peter is each one of us. So this lesson is definitely for each one of us. Let's grab some details here. After these things, he's dealing probably primarily with chapter 20. Mary Magdalene at the grave and everything that follows. Jesus showing himself. Thomas being confronted there. The one disciple who had not seen Jesus yet. And it brings us to this point. The third time, according to John, that Jesus has revealed himself. And he says, after these things, Jesus manifested himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. That would be the Sea of Galilee, yours might read. And he manifested himself in this specific way. They were together, Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and two others of his disciples. Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. And they said to him, we also will come with you. I've heard messages preached about this, that this was a falling away of the disciples. And Jesus had already told them, wait, in 40 days you will receive the Holy Spirit. Wait for me. And not that my opinion is that important, but I disagree with those who have taught in that manner. These were fishermen. And in waiting, they busied themselves doing what they had been trained to do. They busied themselves in taking care of themselves. They went back to their jobs. They did not fall away from Christ. They may not understand everything that was going on, but they did not fall away from Christ. So let's try to not put something there that is not there in the scriptures. I'm going fishing. You see, we'll come with you. And notice that it's Peter that's leading out as always. This is important. And they went out and got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. And when the day was now breaking, Jesus stood on the beach. Yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Now, they are about 100 yards away. They're actually about 350 feet away. Now, if I was standing at the end of a football field on a very clear day, and I was standing back behind the goalpost at the turns in the track, and Dwayne was at the other side, I would probably recognize Dwayne. It was a very clear day. I would probably recognize him. But at this lake, it may have been foggy. It was at the breaking of day. The light may have not been that good. So they know someone is there, but they just did not recognize it to be Jesus. Children, lads, guys, he said to them, do you have any fish? And they answered him, no. And he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you'll find a catch. They cast, therefore, And when they were not able to haul it in because of the great number of fish. Now they had been down this road one time before with Christ when they had not caught fish. And John, it always seems to be John, he recognizes something. The disciple, therefore, whom Jesus loved, said to Peter, "It's the Lord." And here's Peter again. Peter's down to his undergarments. Some versions may read, and Peter was naked. No, he was down to his undergarments, prepared for fishing. It says that he put on his outer garment and prepared it, dove into the water. But the other disciples came in a little boat, for they were not far from the land, about 100 yards away, dragging the net full of fish. And so when they got out upon the land, they saw a charcoal fire laid, and fish placed on it, and bread. And Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish which you have now caught." There are those who believe that this was some kind of a miracle. And I'm not sure where that comes from. Jesus had prepared a meal. I think he probably started the fire in the normal way. If he didn't, that was his option. He's the Son of God. But what we do know is he prepared a meal. And he had it ready. Well, let's think about why John felt it was important to put this down in writing for us. Jesus had always tended to the disciples' needs. He had always kept them. Remember what he prayed in his priestly prayer. "Father, I have kept those. I have kept those that you have given me." And he took care of them, and he guarded them from those who wanted to kill not only himself, but wanted to kill the disciples. No one was going to touch them. And he saw that they were taken care of in every way. He is still now, after the resurrection, tending to the needs of his followers. It's his intentions to tend to our needs. Many times we are afraid to follow Christ because we're afraid of what we're going to lose. And we will study more of this. But Jesus said, "I have kept," and the inference is very strong as he turned the followers over to the Father. He said, "Keep these that I have kept for you, for I have lost none. And I gave them to you for your safekeeping, Father." And we are kept by the Holy Spirit. We are safe. And no matter what our flesh may see as a great loss, it is not a loss, because we are still going to be kept. It may not be being kept at a level that we are used to. I've had plenty to eat. I have had more than I've ever needed to eat. As I've shared with you before, I ate myself into a heart attack. And I have been incredibly hungry. I have been without virtually everything. But I was kept. And the proof is that I'm standing here. And I never doubted that Christ was keeping me. It was just the road that I was walking on. And these disciples, again, need this teaching. They need it very badly because, as we find out later, things are going to get serious for some of them. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land full of the fish, 153. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. And Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." Now none of the disciples ventured to question him, "Who are you?" knowing that it was the Lord. Now this brings into question, why would this even be brought up? We don't know what Christ's new glorified body looked like. We know it had the scars. And we know that he was able to come up to a locked door and not have to knock. He just simply, and then he came back to being able to be seen. I don't know what he looked like. I don't know. I think he looked pretty much like himself. But again, he had this new glorified body. But he said they knew not to ask because they had been convinced that this really was the Lord. 13, Jesus came and took the bread and gave them, and the fish likewise. This is now the third time that Jesus was manifested to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. So when they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? These. There are probably only two options of what these were. And the first one would be related to a different interpretation as to why they went fishing. Do you love me more than these fishing nets and your boats and the rigging and what you've been doing for a living? I don't think that was it. I think this was dealing with Peter's personality. And I think the scripture backs this up. Peter, do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than these other guys love me? Do you? Now your mind should be going back a little bit. Someone find Matthew 26:33 and read that for us when I ask you to. And someone else find John 13:37 and 38. Matthew 26:33 to John 13:37, 38. What does Matthew 26:33 say?
Peter answered and said to him, even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble.
That reference in particular was dealing with the other disciples. Peter was pretty braggadocious sometimes, full of himself. He had a patriot's mentality. John 13:37 and 38, who has that?
Peter asked, Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you. Jesus answered, will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times.
Okay. I think that's where Jesus is as he's discussing this issue of Peter and how he operated out of his own flesh, the strength of his own flesh. I don't care what kind of a soldier you are, or what kind of a soldier I am. We don't have enough to lead this Christian life in our own strength. It's not there. It is Christ in us that will bring us to the end. Too many big men have tried and failed in their own strength. And Peter was one of them. He failed miserably. Embarrassed, humiliated himself. As he stated 3 times, I don't even know him. I don't even know Christ. Do you love me more than these? And he said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And he said to him, tend my lambs. Take care of them. And he said to him again, the second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? And he said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. And he said to him a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? And Peter grieved because he said to him the third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Tend my sheep." There's part of the body of Christ that believes that this was calling Peter to become the Pope. And sometimes he's called a pastor. You don't see any titles in here. He didn't call him to be a pastor. He didn't call him to be a pope. He called him, well, we find out the very end. He said, "Come and follow me." Peter just simply needed to be obedient. He called him to be a shepherd. Tend my sheep. Tend to the sheep's needs. Look after them. Protect them. Guard them. And ultimately it will be guarding them with his word. With the word of God. And he said, feed them with this word. Tend to my sheep. He's not giving him a title. That's one thing Peter didn't need with his personality, was a title. It is very simple. God makes it simple when he calls us. He doesn't call us to titles. He calls us to obedience. That's all it ever is. And dependence upon him. Verse 18, truly, truly I say to you, Peter, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will gird you and bring you to where you do not wish to go. Now, this he said, signifying what kind of death he would glorify God with. This is referring back to when Peter said, "I will die for you." Well, at that time, he would not die for him. He didn't even want to be known as one of Christ's disciples. Do you want to be known as one of Christ's disciples this morning? Or do you balk? Do you run for the shadows? You run and get lost in a crowd when it appears that you're going to be standing there and it's obvious that you are not like everyone else. That's what he's calling us to. So Christ lays it out. You're going to die, Peter, as you have spoken. This is how it's going to go down. And he said to him, "Follow me." It was a demand. It was a command. Follow me. And Peter turned around, and he saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them. The one who also had leaned back on the breast of Christ at the supper and said, "Lord, who is the one who betrays you?" John is finally identifying specifically who this mystery disciple was. It's always called in this writing, the disciple who loved him. The disciple who loved him. And there have been all sorts of theories that have just messed up people when they followed him. This is John about to identify himself. Nothing mysterious about this. And Peter, therefore, seeing him, said to Jesus, "Well, Lord, what about this man?" Peter depended a lot upon John. If you remember at the table, it was Peter leaning over saying to the disciple that Jesus loved, said, "Ask him this question. Ask him this." And he said, "Well, what about my buddies back here? Can he come along?" And Jesus said to him, "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me. If I want him to remain until I come back, that's my business. It's not your business. I am telling you to come and follow me, Peter. Follow me. Period." Now that should relate to us. What if nobody in your shop, wherever it is that you work, nobody in your shop that you can determine with any bit of accuracy really is going to stand up firm for Christ, are you going to fade off into the shadows and hide in a crowd? That's the tendency. Well, if somebody else would, and I can just hear God saying, I didn't ask you to run with somebody else. I didn't ask you to run as a tag team. I asked you to follow me. That's what you said you were going to do. When I convicted you of your lost condition, I said, now come and follow me. Unreservedly. Don't walk. Don't look for the shadows. Come and follow me. It's decision time. It's decision time this morning. Are you following Christ? Will you follow Christ? This saying, therefore, went out among the brethren, that the disciple would not die, referring to John. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he would not die, but only, if I want him to remain until I come. What is that to you? Now let me add a footnote here. John is writing as an old man. There's the real chance that Peter is already dead at this point when John is writing this epistle. So John is able to recall all of this on the paper with much accuracy and understand completely now what Jesus was saying. With Peter probably already dying, and John would know that. And this saying had gone about that John the disciple would never die because Jesus was coming back. And John was trying to clear things up and stop this bad teaching in some of the churches that was leading people astray. This is the disciple who bears witness of these things and wrote these things. And we know that this witness is true. Who is we? It's he and the other disciples, and all those who have seen these things, because he is writing in past tense. These things have happened. And there are also many other things which Jesus did, which if they were written in detail, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books which were written. Now I know probably everybody who has read that has thought, boy, could he have done that many things? All the books and all the libraries, if they were all written about, that the libraries in the entire world could not contain. Well, I do believe that that is accurate, because if we go all the way back to the first, where we started in John, in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, before creation, was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God. Without the Word, nothing that is would be. And when you consider that science is finally catching up with the Bible, and have determined that there are as many galaxies in the universe as there are grains of sand on this earth. It used to be stars. Now they have determined, because God's allowing them to. Because remember, all creation declares God. So, if you take all the galaxies that Christ created and everything about the universe that makes it work so perfectly, and the voluminous works that have been written already by men who don't even know that they are writing about what God has done, and they are still writing, and they not even knock the dust off the top of the creative table, absolutely this world could not contain in all its libraries all the things that Christ has done, because he's the creator of it all. And you can never exhaust eternity. This morning, you are Peter, and I am Peter, and Christ asks you, do you love me more than these? Wherever that area of pride is in your life and self-assurance, do you love me more than these? There's only one good answer, and that is in humility, because Peter knew where Christ was coming from with this conversation. To be asked 3 times, to be asked 3 times in front of the disciples after he had mouthed off. Peter knew. Do you know? Do you know what God's talking about in your heart this morning? And are you willing to say yes, Lord? You know everything. You know I love you. But I can't do it without you. That's what Peter needed to be. And then Jesus says, come and follow me this morning. Whatever God is asking you to do this morning, today is that day. If it's for salvation, today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off. If it is to finally make that true commitment within your Christian life and say, I'm coming out of the shadows at work, or at play, or whatever. Yes, Lord, you know all things. You know I love you. And if you're waiting for somebody else to come along, if you're waiting for that friend, that church member, that husband or wife, he's not calling you as a couple, he's calling you as an individual. You got saved all by your lonesome. That commitment was between you and Christ. It wasn't with your husband, it wasn't with your wife, it wasn't with your mom, your dad, your children. Today, thank you for your decision. And he says, follow me. Just follow me. Because you keep you safe. Father, we need your help this morning. We're stubborn and we're stiff-necked. I pray that you would warm any cold hearts. You would soften our attitudes. And that you would displace our excuses with the truth of your word. And we would just simply say, yes, Lord, I love you. I'm going to follow you like I should. Be a better worker. Be a better spouse. I will honor my parents in all that I do according to your word.